Ravri Rathor was an unassuming figure in his quaint village, known for his endearing quirks and knack for fixing old, forgotten objects. While the villagers saw him as a man content in his simplicity, Ravri harbored a secret dream: to bring stories to life, to create films. Though he lacked the resources or training, his imagination often ran wild, inspired by tales he heard from passing travelers. He'd sit under the banyan tree, picturing himself as the creator of grand, heartfelt stories. Life in the village moved at its usual unhurried pace until a traveling merchant arrived one sunny afternoon, setting up a makeshift stall in the market. The merchant's booming voice announced an opportunity that stirred everyone's curiosity: a grand film competition in the nearby city, with a reward large enough to change someone's life. He spoke of fame, recognition, and the allure of seeing one's work on the big screen. For Ravri, the merchant's words struck a chord deep within. His heart raced with the possibilities, but doubt clouded his enthusiasm. What did he know of making films? The idea, however, refused to leave him. That night, Ravri sat on the creaky wooden bench outside his home, staring at the stars. He imagined a story, one that could connect people, make them laugh and cry. He had no camera, no experience, but a burning desire. "If others can do it, why can't I?" he whispered to himself. The very next day, as if fate had answered his call, Ravri stumbled upon an old, rusted video camera abandoned in the village junkyard. It was covered in dirt, with broken buttons and cracked glass, but to Ravri, it was a treasure. His heart swelled with hope as he held it in his hands, imagining the stories it could tell. Yet, the camera's condition was far from usable. Undeterred, Ravri decided to fix it. He dismantled the device, spreading its components on his small wooden table. Days turned into nights as he worked tirelessly, trying to breathe life into the broken camera. Each failure was met with a deep sigh, but Ravri's determination remained unshaken. He scavenged for parts, rummaging through old machinery and borrowing tools from neighbors. Some villagers laughed at his efforts, dismissing his dream as a whimsical distraction. Others watched in quiet admiration, sensing the sincerity of his purpose. The camera, despite its wear and tear, symbolized more than just a means to an end. It represented hope, resilience, and the courage to dream. One evening, after countless hours of trial and error, Ravri managed to power up the camera. The flickering screen brought tears to his eyes. Holding the working camera felt like holding a miracle. His journey was far from over, but this small victory filled him with newfound confidence. The world of filmmaking awaited him, and Ravri Rathor, the unlikely hero of his village, was ready to embrace it. The camera in Ravri's hands was only the beginning of his journey. His dream, though ignited, demanded relentless effort to shape into reality. As he held the fragile device, questions began to flood his mind. How would he create a film? What story would he tell? And, most importantly, how would he bring it all together with no prior experience? Yet, he knew giving up was not an option. Ravri began experimenting with the camera. He tested it in his backyard, capturing clumsy shots of the livestock and the swaying trees. The footage was shaky, the colors dull, but he watched the playback with fascination. Every frame, imperfect as it was, felt like a step forward. However, technical glitches kept surfacing. The camera would stop recording unexpectedly, and the sound quality was barely audible. Ravri spent hours troubleshooting, poring over the device's inner workings as if decoding an ancient mystery. Word of Ravri's unusual project spread through the village. While some villagers ridiculed him for chasing an impossible dream, others started to notice his passion. A curious group of children became his unofficial assistants, offering suggestions and helping him set up basic scenes. They giggled at their own reflections on the camera screen, turning the process into an adventure. Soon a few adults joined in too. One lent him an old lamp for lighting, while another offered fabric scraps for props. Slowly, the entire village seemed to rally around Ravri's endeavor, transforming his personal mission into a collective pursuit. The biggest hurdle Ravri faced was crafting a compelling story. He spent sleepless nights scribbling ideas on scraps of paper. His initial attempts were uninspired, predictable tales that felt forced and hollow. Frustrated but undeterred, he sought inspiration from the stories shared by the elders in the village. Sitting under the banyan tree, he listened intently as they recounted tales of love, struggle, and triumph. These narratives, rich with emotion and authenticity, planted seeds of creativity in Ravri's mind. One day, as he pieced together fragments of an idea, his rival in the village, Ramji, decided to interfere. Known for his sharp tongue and dismissive attitude, Ramji often mocked Ravri's efforts. Seeing an opportunity to humiliate him further, Ramji deliberately tampered with the camera, leaving it unusable once again. When Ravri discovered the damage, his heart sank. For a brief moment, he questioned whether his dream was worth the relentless challenges it brought. But the support of his community rekindled his resolve. A young boy from the village approached him with a makeshift toolkit, saying, "You fixed it once. You can do it again." Touched by the gesture, Ravri got to work. This time, his repairs were faster, more precise, a testament to the skills he'd honed through sheer persistence. By the end of the week, the camera was functional again, and Ravri had learned a crucial lesson. Every setback was an opportunity to grow. With his story beginning to take shape and the village standing behind him, Ravri's determination burned brighter than ever. He wasn't just chasing a dream, he was creating something that belonged to everyone. With the camera repaired and his story idea in place, Ravri began the process of turning his vision into reality. His story was simple yet profound, a tale of a dreamer overcoming odds, much like his own journey. The villagers, now deeply invested, eagerly volunteered to help. Some became actors, while others contributed as set decorators or assistants. There was no shortage of enthusiasm, but Ravri knew that enthusiasm alone wouldn't make a film. He needed to make every shot count. Ravri started by scouting locations around the village. He found beauty in the mundane, the old well, the bustling market, the golden fields at sunset. These places, familiar to everyone, now carried a cinematic charm when viewed through the camera's lens. The villagers marveled at how their everyday surroundings looked magical on screen, which only deepened their commitment to the project. Ravri, however, understood that visuals were just one part of the story. He needed to ensure that the emotions in his film felt authentic. Directing the villagers proved to be both challenging and amusing. Most of them had never acted before and often forgot their lines or burst into laughter mid-scene. Ravri, though patient, had to find creative ways to guide them. He acted out the scenes himself, demonstrating the emotions he wanted to capture. Slowly but surely, his cast began to understand the nuances of their roles. Even the children, who initially treated the process like a game, started taking it seriously, their performances adding a layer of innocence and joy to the film. Props and costumes posed another challenge. With no budget to rely on, Ravri and his team had to improvise. Old clothes were repurposed into costumes, while discarded items were turned into props. A broken lantern became a symbol of hope in one scene, while an abandoned cart transformed into a makeshift camera dolly. These limitations forced Ravri to think creatively, and the results often surprised even him. The film was taking on a life of its own, shaped as much by resourcefulness as by imagination. The technical aspects, however, continued to test Ravri's resolve. The camera's battery life was unpredictable, often dying at critical moments. The sound quality remained inconsistent, and Ravri had to rely on makeshift solutions to capture audio. He even devised ways to use reflective surfaces to enhance lighting during evening shoots. Every problem required an innovative solution, and every solution taught him something new about filmmaking. Despite the challenges, the process brought the villagers closer together. Even Ramji, Ravri's once hostile rival, began to soften. Watching Ravri's relentless dedication and the joy the project brought to the community, Ramji offered to help build a small stage for a key scene. His unexpected gesture caught Ravri off guard, but he accepted it with gratitude. The rivalry had turned into camaraderie, adding a new dimension to the story unfolding both on and off-screen. As the days went by, Ravri's film began to take shape. It was far from polished, but it was filled with heart. Every frame carried the fingerprints of a community that dared to dream alongside him. Ravri realized that his film wasn't just a personal project, it was a celebration of their shared spirit, resilience, and creativity. The day of submission arrived, and Ravri sent his completed film to the city. His heart was a whirlwind of emotions, relief that he had finished, pride in what he had created, and anxiety over how it would be received. The villagers, who had been part of every step, gathered to wish him luck. For them, the film was already a triumph, a testament to what they could achieve together. But for Ravri, it was a shot at proving to himself that his dreams had value. As days turned into weeks, life in the village returned to its routine, though a buzz of anticipation lingered. Ravri tried to distract himself with odd jobs, but the thought of the competition never left his mind. Finally, the announcement day arrived. The villagers gathered around the old radio at the market square, their excitement palpable. When Ravri's name was called as the winner of the Best Story award, the square erupted in cheers. Ravri, overwhelmed, could barely process the news. The prize wasn't just a certificate and a monetary reward. It came with an invitation to attend the awards ceremony in the city. For someone who had never traveled beyond the neighboring towns, this was both thrilling and daunting. With the villagers pooling resources to fund his journey, Ravri set off, carrying the pride of his community on his shoulders. The ceremony was a dazzling affair, far removed from anything Ravri had ever experienced. Filmmakers, critics, and journalists filled the hall, their sophistication intimidating yet inspiring. When Ravri's film was screened, it stood out for its raw simplicity and heartfelt message. Unlike the polished entries, it was unrefined but genuine, resonating with everyone in the audience. By the time the credits rolled, Ravri received a standing ovation. On stage, Ravri struggled to find the words to express his gratitude. He spoke about his village, the people who had supported him, and the lessons he had learned. "This film is not mine alone," he said. "It belongs to everyone who believed in a dream, no matter how impossible it seemed." His words moved the audience, cementing his place as not just a winner but an inspiration. When Ravri returned home, he was greeted with a hero's welcome. The prize money was enough to improve the village's resources, but Ravri had a different vision. He used part of the funds to establish a small film club, teaching others what he had learned. He encouraged the villagers to tell their own stories, lending them the same camera that had once been his lifeline. Ravri's journey had come full circle, but his impact was just beginning. The once quiet village now buzzed with creativity, and the dreams of its people grew as bright as the stories they shared. Ravri Rathor was no longer just a man with a dream. He had become the spark that ignited many.